You're listening to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast about one of the most legendary bands of all time, Deep Purple. We take a look at the music, history, and people behind the band Deep Purple and beyond. Welcome to the Deep Purple Podcast, the first and only podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Today's episode is episode number 161, The Maze, MI5. And coming to you from the deep dish suburbs of Chicago, I'm your host, Nathan Beaudry.
And coming to you from the suburbs of Providence, I'm your co-host, John the Belch Matola.
Oh boy. Yes,
Will anybody know what that even means at this point, or did you edit it all out?
I hope my editing has been good enough that they don't.
So for anyone out there that doesn't know, or actually we may have discussed it on some of our episodes afterwards, is that I had the wrong audio selected on my end for a couple or a few episodes, and my muting switch or my cough switch didn't work. So a couple of my horrible bodily noises made its way onto the episodes, which I personally thought were hilarious, especially because Nate didn't react to them because he didn't hear them.
Yeah, I'm just like going on about some stupid idea I have about Deep Purple, and John's like, and I just keep going, don't even stop.
So in his book about Deep Purple, he said, and then you're just like, and then blah 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 blah. Oh, not like, all right, you gross pig, we have to start over again.
Which just kind of made it extra weird. So I'm sure some of you heard it. I edited out of a few episodes, and then I found one more, and I was just like, I didn't have the strength to edit that one out. So I'll get to it eventually.
I didn't make it all the way through, but wasn't there one where it was like sniffling and like fidgeting around?
Yeah, those were
something.
It sounded like you had blown your nose, but you hadn't gotten the job done.
You made it sound like it was like a hound sniffing around, like.
It wasn't like that. It was more like, when you're it's like you got something in there, but you can't quite get it out. Like you're just like, it seemed like you were annoyed with a snot in your nose or something.
I usually am. But anyway, enough about that grossness.
Yes. Yes. So, my parents are here visiting. So I just had some deep dish pizza, which we always have when they come visit. Pretty much.
Where from?
From Lou Malnati's.
Yes, Illuminati's.
Yes.
I swear to God, that's what I thought it was when I came to visit. I mean, until I saw the place, but somebody had told me.
Until you saw the box, like, oh, this is an Illuminati pizza.
This is the pizza of the proletariat.
I didn't have anything to drink with dinner, but I do have a can of the Iron Maiden Trooper beer here, and which I had said on the episode I did not care. It's not very good beer, and I've had a number of people contact me and let me know that, like, hey, you've got to drink it warm. It's got to be warm. It can't be cold. And I was like, well, to me, it's like a kind of a crappy beer, so I got it as cold as possible, which I do with a crappy beer. So I have listened. I let this kind of come up to room temperature. It's a little cool in the basement, but so I let it come up to room temperature, and I'm gonna try it on the show to see if it is actually better warm. Let's see.
All right, here we go.
You know what?
What?
They're right. I am actually really shocked because I was expecting to be like, nope, now it tastes bad and warm. But actually, that is much better. That is really much better. And, like I've had like cask ales before, like, British style ales or whatever, or some French ones too that are supposed to be kind of drunk a little bit warm. And it's never been like totally my thing. But yeah, that actually kind of takes some of the harshness off of it. All right, so thank you, everybody. Thank you for the tips. In particular, Joe at Sabbath Fans was a big proponent of trying it warm. So I feel good that I tried it warm.
Interesting.
Joe's
Yeah.
probably. I'll DM Joe because I doubt he's listening to the episode about the maze. But if you are,
'Cause,
Joe, thanks for tuning in. He listens to a lot of episodes, but I don't know if the maze is his cup of tea.
well, there's been some controversial takes on um, like that with I can't remember who told me. Somebody told me once, they're like, "Oh, you got to drink this red wine cold," and I'm like,
Mm.
"Bullshit! Get out of my house!" You know, like I'm like, I'll never drink a red wine. I mean, maybe like what do you call it, Roscato or something like that. But
Mhm.
I never heard of anything like just broadly speaking. But somebody's, "Oh no, if you try this one," and as you know, sometimes it's they're on about it, sometimes off. I mean, I guess it really depends on who you're talking to. If they know what they're talking about, then you'd be surprised at how differently or much better something tastes when you're just like, oh, I never thought of doing it this way. So
Yeah, no, hey, it works. It does work. I like letting some beers warm up a little bit, not like warm, but just not ice cold. But if it's a crappy beer, usually ice cold is the way to go. um, yeah. So, hey, if you want to help support the Deep Purple podcast, you can do so a number of ways. One is by leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. You can buy some merch at our Etsy store. You can become a patron on Patreon for as little as $1 a month and help support the show. Or you can donate on PayPal, same premise, $1 a month minimum. You can click the little box to make it a monthly donation, or you can just give us a one-time lump sum. And then you can also donate using Cash App at $DPPOD, DPPOD on Cash App. I don't know how it works. I just set it up. So I think it works on my end. I don't know how to send anybody anything, but hopefully one day we'll figure that out if anybody decides to ever use it. And hey, speaking of patrons, heyo,
Hi-yo!
a little delay there. We have a new patron, Carl Helberg, coming in at the $5.99 nice price tier.
I've noticed a lot of people taking advantage of that nice price tier. I think that's really has awakened some kind of nostalgia in people.
Yeah, Fielding Fowler really brought us back with a nice price, and
Mm.
here we are. We got quite a few in that, and that might be our biggest tier right now. We'll have to double check, but Carl says, thank you for a great podcast. I just signed up as a Patreon. I was listening to John Norum's from the band Europe solo album Total Control from 1987 the other day and discovered something interesting that I don't know if you're aware of. Listen to the track Too Many Hearts, written by, and he puts that in quotes, John Norum and Marcel Jacob. I believe they forgot to give someone writing credits. I know the original is Donovan, but Deep Purple has a huge influence for the band Europe. And he's referring to it kind of sounds pretty similar to La Leña. So have to check that out.
Okay.
And he was also in the Discord promoting his La Leña theory. So thank you for joining us at the Discord. We appreciate it. Great to have you on board. And what's this? Heyo!
Hi-yo!
We have a patron upgrade. So that is JJ Stenard electing to upgrade from $1 to the $3 tier. This just came through like literally as we were starting the show. So I just shot him a real quick message and said, hey, if you got any message to read, let us know. If we get it through the show, I'll let you know. If not, we'll read it next episode. But I'd love to know the reasoning behind why you're upgrading. That's we're not that we're complaining, but
Because we're awesome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the upgrade. Upgrading to the Nobody's Perfect tier. We appreciate it. And speaking of patrons, let's thank our executive level patrons coming in at the $25 Uncommon Man tier. We have Ovis Nakvi. At the $21.12 Long Live Rock and Roll tier, we have Richard Fusey. At the $15 which one was what was his Light in the Black. Sorry, I forgot to edit this in the Light in the Black. A Light in the Black tier. That is Gerald Kelly. Thank you so much. At the 10-pound tier, Dr. Jill Brees. At the Turn It Up to $11 tier, we have Clay Wambacher, Frank Thielgard Mortensen, Alan, 8 Too Proud to Beg, and Mikkel Steen. And at the $10 Someone Came tier, Ryan M., Jeff Bryce, Gerald Kelly, Victor Campos, Better Call Saul Evans, and Kev Roberts and his wonderful children, Matthew, Gareth, and Sarah. Thank you so much to all of you for your generous donations. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, if you join any tier, you get access to our exclusive Discord channel where we have a little chat going where people are really agitating for you to jump in, John. They really want to hear from you.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, "Where's John? We need to hear. We need to see John in this Discord."
I mean, I could try. I mean, Jesus. I got home from work today and I had 25 missed texts from our group text with you and Rich. So it's like I don't even keep up with that.
I warned them
But
that it might not happen for two reasons. One is that's not your preferred form of communication, and two is you don't even have the app or probably know how to use it, so you'd have to like install it and figure it out, and you're probably just like, screw that.
well, no, I'll give it a try. I mean, if there's a demand for Matola, I'm not gonna deny him.
I mean, there's a lot of demand for Mottola, obviously.
Hell yeah.
They
But
somebody's mentioned something about the bylaws or something, isn't it in the bylaws that you have to be in the chat?
I mean, I'll check it out. I need something else to do with my time.
Yeah, you have so much extra free. Me too. I'm like just really looking for uses for all this extra free time I got. And hey, it's not just patrons we're talking about. We're doing something we haven't done in a little while.
Oh, I saw it coming.
Oof, I thought my chops would be a little rusty, but it's just like riding a bike, it turns out. We have a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts coming to us from none other than our newest patron, Carl Hellberg. So this might be a first, becoming a patron and having a new podcast review at the same exact episode. So Carl Hellberg writes in from Sweden, 5 stars. Subject: interesting and entertaining. Very interesting and entertaining about the classic and constantly innovative band Deep Purple and their sprawling family tree. Highly recommended to all music geeks like me. So thank you, Carl. We appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you. No, I didn't. Sometimes I don't know when to jump in.
See, this is what you're missing out on the Discord. 3 days later, he'll be like, yes.
My dry wit.
And also, if you join the Discord, you get access to our rating spreadsheet too, so you can just look at our ratings. So it's another perk there.
If I join, you can watch me fumble with it too.
Yeah.
Like...
We've watched him real time, but we've been promoting the Patreon for 3 years, but we do a really bad job of promoting what you actually get from it, and we haven't really made any extra incentives either. But you guys have been so generous in donating even without any incentives that we're starting to pepper some in eventually. Hey, just a reminder, we're part of the Deep Dive Podcast Network. If you want to check them out at deepdivepodcastnetwork.com, we are there, as well as all sorts of great shows about Black Sabbath, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Queen, Uriah Heep, Hawkwind, Iron Maiden, Ozzy, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Judas Priest, Van Halen, and Aerosmith. So check those shows out. There'll be more information at deepdivepodcastnetwork.com. Sorry, I'm choking over here. I'm choking on some deep dish pizza. But I also have a dessert after my deep dish pizza, which is this. I made Belgian waffles yesterday for a little brunch. We had some family over, and then I dipped them in chocolate. So I've got chocolate dipped Belgian waffle here.
Hi-oh!
Let's try some of that right now.
That deserves one of those.
All right, very good. All right. So now we're here to talk about the maze. John, what do you know, if anything, about the maze?
That you told me that today's episode was about it. No, prior to this, I have no knowledge. I mean, you told me that it was Rod Evans. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it way back when, on like one of
right, and I forgot. So
yeah.
So I have some knowledge like back here in my brain. That's about it. But I don't think I've ever heard it or like just know too much about it off the top of my head.
Well, we'll go into a little bit about the history, and then we got a bunch of scattered tracks to listen to. But so basically, Ian Paice at the age of 14 gets very interested in playing drums. He's drumming all over the house, rattling on I just imagine him going on like lampshades and sofas and all around the house, banging on stuff. So his father eventually, for his 15th birthday, buys him a drum kit. And he starts to get pretty good at it. And then he starts to get his first paid gigs working with his father's band for £3 a night. After that, Ian Paice joins his first rock group, George and the Ravons. Sounds pretty cool. And in mid-1965, they changed their name to the Shindigs. And then there's a bunch of, I'll have notes and links and stuff on the show notes, of course, deeppurplepodcast.com. But a lot of this is from deep-purple.net. Also, some of the discs you can learn about this are this pre-purple people disc, which features a lot of early pre-Deep Purple stuff from all the various members of the band. And then the other one you can check out is this box set, which is really cool, which is Listen, Learn, Read On, which is a cool box set, which has all of these different tracks going through kind of the whole history. It starts with the Outlaws, goes through what we're going to talk about now, Trapeze, episode 6, Zephyr, and just kind of boom, boom, boom. The whole first disc is basically almost there's only a couple of Deep Purple songs on, a few Deep Purple songs on it, and then it starts to go into everything else, and it's got a bunch of rarities on it, which have a lot of them have been re-released. But the cool thing about this is it comes with this booklet, which is 100 something pages of various like info and stuff about the history of the band and various offshoots. Found it for a pretty good price a while back on eBay, so I figured I'd buy it just for the booklet because it got all the tracks, and it's really cool. There's various selections from various albums, deep cuts, all sorts of stuff. There's 5 discs here, so pretty cool. So check it out. A lot of that's the information about the Maze in particular can be found on deep-purple.net. So from there, he talks about Simon Robinson writing, talks about the band, the Shindigs. He says they comprised Johnny Bosher on bass, Brian Nelson, and in parentheses, no one can remember what he did. And then Ian and Stuart Forrest on lead and rhythm guitars, plus Georgie, the band's namesake, and Adam on vocals. Because I think at one point, it was called Georgie and the Shindigs. So nobody can remember. So if Johnny Bosher was on bass and then we had lead and rhythm guitar, so Brian Nelson would have had to be the drum. Well, no, he wouldn't have been the drummer. So he had to have been. Oh, yeah, I guess that's why nobody knows what he did, because we've got guitars, we got bass, we got drums covered, we got vocals covered. Maybe he was a keyboardist of some sort. I don't know. At this time, Rod Evans was in a band called the Horizons, based in Slough. I think I've mispronounced that before, so my British listeners can write up and correct me again. That included amongst its ranks Lenny Hawks, later Chip Hawks of the Tremolos on bass guitar. So getting some deep British band backgrounds here. This band traveled around in Hamburg, making very little in pay, and Mick Angus said that they'd eat in cafes, and then like right before they brought the bill, they'd all skip out on the bill because that's how poor they were. So that's the kind of rough and tumble guys Rod Evans was hanging around at this time. So Rod Evans is doing some modeling on the side to that's the look on John's face.
Stupid, sexy Rod Evans.
You look more like skeptical, like modeling. Give me a break.
Well, I mean, maybe, I don't know, at the beginning with that weird hair, but like when it got longer, like in the early 70s, thought he looked better then. I don't think any of them look good with that like helmet head,
like the
60s.
Bouffant, yeah. Well,
yeah,
when
no,
we get into pictures here, you can see his hairstyle then, I think, was much more his hairstyle from 1966-67 held up a hell of a lot better than his 1968-69 hairdo, because they were all going for that crazy Bouffant look.
All right, let's take a look.
His hair today looks like if he walked by you on the street with that hairdo, you'd be like, oh, there's a guy. Whereas his like shades of deep purple hair, if you walk by, you'd be like, what is up with that dude? What is he doing?
Just like, oh, hey, grandma, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have any Werther's originals for me?
Do you have any candy dish with the candy on top of the breath mints underneath? Ugh.
Those little hard candy strawberries. They're in the little wrapper with the green thing, and they look like a strawberry. Only grandmas have those. Mm-hmm. They're the only ones who know where to buy them, or maybe they just bought them all in the 70s. I don't know. But the Horizons never recorded anything, but they toured around. They did a lot of covers, and around 1965, after some tours, they broke up. But when they were in Hamburg, they weren't even old enough to. The drummer wasn't even old enough to play in Hamburg. And actually, George Harrison ran into that same problem with the Beatles when they were in Hamburg, where he was like 17 and they had to like leave early because they found out, or they had forged their papers or something like that to get him over there. But they had the same issue, but the drummer just didn't go. And John Kerrison, who was later going to be the drummer in episode 6, filled in with them. So they're connected to episode 6 in that way too. So at this point, uh, Rod Evans joins a band called the Jumping Jimmy Band, which I like. And then at some point, this band decided to change its name to MI5, probably because it was a much better name. And then Pace's band, the Shindigs, ended up playing gigs in support of MI5. And then MI5's drummer quit, and they began looking for a replacement. And since Rod knew Ian from the Shindigs, they invited him to join MI5, and that's where MI5 landed. And at this point, that with Ian in the band, they decided, or not, I guess not decided, but they were able to become professional and support themselves, at least, you know, meagerly, to be professional musicians. So looking at the band, here we go. Here's the band right here. Can you see them?
Yep.
That's the band. So you see Rod all the way on the right there, looking pretty dapper, right?
Yeah, he looks like he could do my taxes.
Yeah, he does. He looks very professional. Probably just got back from a modeling gig. All of them
Yeah.
look kind of like, you know, like if you saw them on the street, their hairdos wouldn't like jump out at you as being crazy.
No.
They look of the time, but you know, pretty decent. So then we got this picture too, which is a slightly better version. There's Rod in the center and Ian right beside him.
Wow. Ian is like, he's like a little boy.
Ian, I mean, he at this point, he was probably what, 16 or something?
He looks like he's 8. He looks like he's
he
8 years old.
He
He's like, hey kid, come over here, pose for a picture.
Hey, can you play the drums? And then here's another picture. Now this is off of the Rod Evans group on Facebook, which is really cool. And ML stands for Maria Lazari, who runs that group, and you know is friends with Ian Pace still to this day. She'll post pictures of herself with him, and I reach out to her if I ever got any sort of questions about the band, or about Rod, or about this era, because she's like she was familiar with them for reasons we'll get into later. But you've got Ian Pace all over there on the left with the too short polka dot tie that he looks like he's robbed from a clown. he might also have a flower that squirts ink at you, but that's not pictured.
And on drums, Bozo Pace.
Then you've got Rod, obviously second from the right over there. And then I've seen the names of all of these guys in MI5 in the maze like a million times, but I could not find anywhere online where they actually said who was who. So I reached out to a few different sources, and then finally to Maria and said, can you clear this up? So she tells me, since she knew the guys, it's obviously Ian Pace on the left. The next one over is Roger Lewis, who is the guitar player, which is interesting because he's not holding the guitar in that picture. The next one in the center is Chris Banham, who is the organ player who's holding the guitar. Then you've got Rod Evans. And then lastly, you've got Eric Keane on the bass on the right there. So it's kind of interesting. You can find a lot of information about these guys in various places. But so one of the things I found, and this was from one of their here it is. This is from one of their releases, the Kateri, which we'll get to later. This is like a press release, which is cool because like there's much more well-known acts where you can't find this comprehensive a press release, but it says 5 young guys aged between 19 and 22 make up the Maze, a group with a great future ahead of them. With 3 records behind them and another label, they have their first single release with the MGM on the classic song Kateri. Doubtless their choice of songs was influenced by their 3-month stay in Italy this year. Then it goes into the members of the group and kind of what they're doing. Roger Lewis, lead guitar, has written for 3 records, blah, blah, blah. 22-year-old Eric Keane is a guitarist for the group, bass guitarist, accompanied by Ian Anderson Pace on drums. So he says he was originally with MI5. However, as there is a slight confusion with Her Majesty's Intelligence Service, the group decided to change its name to The Maze. Chris Banham, organist, started his formal musical training with piano lessons at the age of 10. And then Edinburgh-born Rod Evans is the singer for the Maze. He was a male model before joining the group, hence his interest in continental clothes. Peaceful by nature, he has an intelligent approach to both life and his singing. We wish the Maze good luck with their first single on MGM. So probably because now that they're with MGM, they've got the better marketing behind them. So it comes with the kind of you've got these little photos of the guys. There's Chris Banham, the organ player, and then it's got these little like fact sheets, with the birth date, eyes blue, hair brown, height 5'11.5". That's very specific. 11.5. Weight 10 stone. Where educated. Previous occupations: milkman, architect's assistant, printer, tape record tester. Miscellaneous likes: peace and quiet. Dislikes: constant noise. Favorite: the Four Tops, the Beatles, and ambitions to have a number one.
I think his miscellaneous dislikes automatically excludes him from being in a rock band.
Constant noise. Well, maybe that's why he isn't in a rock band anymore. Well, he has since passed away, so that's also a part of it. Here we've got Eric Keane, the bass player, and then at the bottom here you see a little shorter, coming in at 5 foot 5'4". Normally we can't provide this kind of information for you guys. Also weighs 10 stone. Went to Royal Free Windsor. Miscellaneous like: girls and money, guitars. Miscellaneous dislikes: being without girls and money. Favorite groups: Booker T, Ray Brown, the Beatles, the Temptations. Ambitions: to be a good bass player and to own property. There you go.
I like the miscellaneous dislikes. He's just like being without girls and money. But I mean, if he didn't have a guitar, he wouldn't care. Apparently, because it's not part of it.
Yeah, being without. Yeah, well, I mean, what's the point of the guitar? It's to get girls and money, right?
to own property. I ain't no serf.
Hey, doesn't he own that? Doesn't he own that guitar? Then we have none other than Mr. Rod Evans, or as he's referred to here, Roderick Evans.
Roderick, there he is.
Where is he? He is 5'11", coming in, clocking in just a half-inch shorter than Chris Banham. Weight 10.5 stone, so he's got to beat a little bit in weight. Previous occupations: male model, trainee, accountant. Miscellaneous likes: children, peace, continental clothes, and the way French girls dress. Miscellaneous dislikes: the thoughts of war, girls who lack conversation, and class consciousness. Wow, he's very, very astute, that Rod Evans. Favorite groups: Marmalade, Alan Brown, and Various American.
Okay.
The only one to not state the Beatles so far. Ambition is to make films and to retire his parents. So that's a nice. He wants to make his parents retire.
Nice.
What a good boy that Roderick Evans is.
What a nice
Then
boy.
we have, here he is, with the dapper man with the cigarette, Mr. Roger Lewis on guitar.
He looks like, hey, how you
doing? He is a straight 6 foot 10 stone, brown hair, brown eyes, black hair. Previous occupations: office clerk.
In quotes, office clerk.
Office clerk, capiche? I clerk at an office. Miscellaneous likes: traveling, smoking, Debussy, Volkswagens, lazing about, continental food, and languages. I like smoking. One of my interests is smoking.
Smoking. Oh man,
that's just one of my hobbies. Miscellaneous dislikes: click pubs, people who are easily influenced, people who can spell, slow servicemen en masse, cricket, and horse racing.
The hell kind of lists are these?
Very bizarre one. And then favorite groups: James Brown and the Temptations. Ambitions: to write a successful song, make some money. Then
some money.
Holding up the rear, we have none other than Ian Anderson Paice.
What a nice young man he looks like.
Looks like a little tiny little boy. Ian Paice is eyes blue, hair black, height 5'8.5", 9.5 stone, coming in a full half stone under most of the members of the band, and a full stone underneath Rod. So There you go. For those of you keeping track, previous occupations: and apprentice engineer, miscellaneous likes: money, expensive cars, and beautiful girls. Miscellaneous dislikes: being with money, beautiful girls, etc. I think he means being without.
Yeah.
They might have just gotten that wrong. Favorite groups: the Beatles and Alan Brown. And his ambition is to live a long time, be rich, and play drums well. Well, I got good news for you, Ian. You've accomplished all of those.
Wow. Look at that. He lived out his ambitions.
Yeah, so kind of interesting. It's interesting seeing the little things that the record labels put behind the band. But yeah, that's those are the guys we're talking about today. Usually we don't have quite quite that kind of information about them. But I thought that was kind of interesting. So we last left off the maze. 1966, the band gets into the studio to cut their first single. It's called at this point they're still MI5. It's called "You Never Stop Loving." You'll Never Stop Me Loving You, which came out in September on Parlophone and was recorded on a single track machine. So they recorded it live onto a single track. That's very I would say very brave, but I'm sure they just didn't have any options. that was the cheapest option they had available to them. So so yeah, do you want to get into listening to some MI5?
Yeah, let's do it. You know what I like better than listening to some MI5 is people that know how to spell, and beautiful girls, and smoking, and class consciousness, and MI5. I love all those things.
Let's just take about 2-3 minutes and smoke a cigarette on the air, and then we'll listen to MI5.
All right.
Sounds fair. All right, here we go. You'll Never Stop Me Loving You. Now we've heard this one before.
Yeah. It's on the Deep Purple family album.
Yes, yep. I love that reverb on his voice.
Quintessential Rod.
And here goes our Elvis comparisons again.
So that means they must have sang the background vocals live too, huh?
Yeah, they must have. It's produced by Phil J, who has very few Discogs entries, just a few others. And the song was written by Roger Lewis, the guitarist.
I always liked this one.
It's got the wake up and make up rhyme scheme that we'll see in hundreds of other songs over the years. You know, I'm feeling sad and blue every time I hear Rod Evans because it makes me sad
that we can't find them.
No, that nobody can.
I'd like to think we would be the ones to draw him out.
Oh, only. Rod, if you are listening, you'll be very discreet. Everything is on your terms, whatever you want to do. I think the thing I'm acutely aware of every time we do an episode that features Rod is that we're one episode closer to our last Rod episode because we'll figure almost out of material here.
There's a little keyboard in there.
Yep. Kind of picking out the notes.
That's pretty good if that's just not overdubbed right there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of bands would be recording live like that, but they would be multi-tracked in a way where you could mix it a little bit. This
Well,
no mixing.
either way, really, really great effects.
And his voice sounds so big.
I mean, that's that. It's a big old bathroom reverb, you know.
Yes, it's like public bathroom reverb. All right, there you go. We're not gonna be rating these songs, right? It's not really a proper release or
No,
anything, but
no, it was just a collection of singles.
yeah, I mean, it's not even a collect. It's just culled from all over because
Oh,
this is various singles and stuff that were found. So
well, I mean, if we were rating, I would give that one a solid 4. I enjoy it. I've always liked that over off the Deep Purple album because I always thought like it was cool. The Family album because I always thought it was cool hearing early Rod, and I always liked his voice. I mean, we all know that, and I mean, I'm not huge into like the '60s sound, but I always thought that this one was really good, and he also had a lot of he sang with a lot of emotion too. It wasn't just that his voice sounded big, like it was produced really well for the time, but he was just like you could hear some some kind of things that he's doing in his voice that he kind of you could tell he was really feeling it when he was
yeah,
singing it. So he was yeah, he's good. He just he had that kind of um, what would you call it? I guess like a niche type of sounding voice, very very tied to the time. That's a very '60s sounding voice, but man, he was good.
yep, absolutely. All right. So next up, the B side for that one is a track called "Only Time Will Tell." I remember this one too.
I don't think I remember this.
No, is it on this one? Let's see. Yeah, it's on the. It's on this listen one read on set.
This is a little more of a typical vocal effect that Rod would use, like a little bit of reverb, but yeah, kind of a doubler or
I like that. Only a little over 2 minutes long. Really short tune.
oh, what happened?
I don't know. Well, let me get it back here.
There we go.
Nice drumming by Pacey, of course. Not a bad mix for straight to mono. Not even a straight to stereo. Very unforgiving. Like you can mess anything up. You're stuck with it. I remember that part really specifically for some reason, just because it's a
Pretty
weird
good.
sort of time will tell, and it's kind of heavy echo on it. There's a couple of these too, and I remember, I think it was one of the Rod solo records that just had a really goofy ending, and I had found like it was probably on YouTube that I found it, and it
Mhm.
had like this goofy ending, and I was like, oh, they must have cut it off early, so I got the actual single and I played it on the turntable, and it ended the exact same way. So there's a few things like you'll just see like this. Some of the stuff was kind of low budget and has very weird like cutoff points and stuff. Like I'm sure they were going for some sort of effect with that and a little bit limited by their time, budget, and the studio they were working with, but pretty cool. So that would have been their first little single that they released.
I like that it was definitely elevated by Rod, because I mean it definitely it had those kind of like droning 60s kind of like background vocals. It
that
sounded
you hate.
very yeah, exactly. But I mean, I don't know. And so far, it's good. It's interesting. I mean, you already have like Rod and you have Ian Pace in it, and I don't know. Some of the music actually sounds. I think it sounds pretty good.
Absolutely. So in October or November of 1966, they made the decision to change their name to the Mays for like what we just said before. And I don't know if I buy the whole thing. Oh, we were we were worried that we'd be mistaken for Her Majesty's Secret Service or whatever. Like, I mean, I don't know. We're really people really going to think those guys were in MI5? I don't know. Um, but anyway, they also it's apparently there was an American band called the Mays at that same time. So if anything comes up where you see that, there might be some confusion. Although I think they were about the same success level as this version of the Mays, maybe less. So there's not a ton out there. I didn't stumble upon really much by them at all looking for Mays stuff. So at this point, they started working on their second single called "Hello Stranger," that was recorded for Robert Stigwood's label Reaction. And this was recorded in December of 1966. So the first single, Hello Stranger. And this one is also written by Lewis.
That's good.
They threw in a shoo up really quick there. Did you catch it? See if they do it again. Might need to wait till the next chorus.
But listen to Rod though, how emotional he sings.
He's phenomenal. I mean,
Like he's not just like phoning it in.
It's not. It has nothing to do with his level of skill as a singer that he didn't go on. Oh, I talked over the shoo up again.
I heard it. I heard it.
Did they do it again? It's like, there we go. He could have gone
now
on
they're doing it
to absolute greatness. But you got to have the record label behind you and the marketing behind you to make that happen. Hearing a lot of paceisms in the background. I'm trying to focus on a Rod, but here Ian doing what Ian does best, even at this young age. So he would have been 18. Very fast fade out.
of course. This stuff so far is like really good. I mean, I'm surprised at how much I enjoy it. It just really makes me realize what an underrated vocalist Rod really is considered. I mean, he doesn't have a huge body of work, unfortunately, and I don't know. I just feel like hearing some of this, I feel it's almost like he was better suited to this than the first three Deep Purple albums.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of his style, was that, he's more of a crooner, more of a balladeer, not really a hard rock. Although we loved his hard rock stuff when he got into
Oh
Captain
yeah, I
Beyond, but
mean the Captain Beyond stuff, but I just feel like the kind of like weird, like experimental kind of direction that Deep Purple was going in when they first started, it was like almost like I feel like Rod doesn't even like compared to this, it's almost like Rod doesn't even fit into it as well. It was just a really, I'm just contrasting it in my mind. It's like I'm really liking this stuff, and we know, the Captain Beyond stuff is great. So the pieces are starting to come together. Is like maybe it's not as surprising why he didn't last as long.
yeah, he might have been a little bit out of his element. That might not have been really his thing, but I mean, although he turned on some great hard rock performances with Captain Beyond, but
Oh yeah.
so after the single was released, the Maze started playing more in more German gigs, and eventually they ended up in Italy, and they were a live backing band for a musical by Arnold Wesker, for an Arnold Wesker play called Chips with Everything. And it was performed at the Piccolo Teatro in Milan, Italy. They were hidden like away, like, below the stage probably. And Ian Paice says that they never saw the audience once during any of these performances because they were just kind of tucked back there doing their thing. So they went into the studio and recorded one of the rarest recordings that they have as a group, which was this single, an A side and a B side of the couple of the songs from this, and it was used as like a promo. They were looking to like play it on local television for ads and stuff to get people to go see the show. So here it is. The first side of this is called Aria del Sude. And the songs were written by the producers of the play.
Quando una volta ho incontrato un bambino e gli ho visto negli occhi uno sguardo di miele e la voglia urgente di andare lontano.
And I forgot to mention they're in Italian.
Yeah, that would have been a good thing to warn me about. Hearing Rod singing in Italian is kind of funny.
It's great. When this is where they would meet Maria, who I was telling you about earlier, who runs the Rod Evans group. And she says that Rod's Italian pronunciation is perfect. He'll confirm or deny that, but I will take it from a bona fide Italian that it is perfect. I have to get your brother on to translate. So this is the one to have. If you can get a copy of this, I think it's pretty expensive. Oh, there's one for sale on Discogs right now for $1,075. Tips from Italy. In mint condition, wow.
C'è qualcuno che soffia un veleno nell'aria del sud. Perché qualcuno c'è sempre a sporcare quell'aria del sud. Lungo una strada io perdevo i miei sogni camminando da solo, trascinandomi dietro come pietre le facce disperate di chi sperando come me nel vento poi fa
If I was just listening to this for the first time, I would think this was a legit Italian band. I like the music, even though they didn't write it. It's exciting. Pacey's going nuts on the drums back there.
Yep. A little more representation of him in here.
Se c'è qualcuno che soffia un veleno nell'aria del Sud, perché qualcuno c'è sempre a sporcare quell'aria del Sud.
I love it when Rod's feeling himself.
Yeah, Pacey's going into the mule back there. Oh yeah, that's
Big ending from this. It's a very emotional song. I wish I knew what they were talking about.
yeah, that was that took a little getting used to, because I'm like, okay, I'm used to hearing that's like Rod's voice, but he's singing in Italian. So it was weird going into that not knowing. And so I was just kind of like but that being said, really another good one.
And now that we're used to him singing in Italian, let's go with the B-side for this one. Non fatemi odiare. Might very well be pronouncing that wrong. We should have had both of our Italian mothers on this episode. They could have told us what they're saying.
Let's see. So, Aria del Sude is a southern air.
There you go.
Going into translator.
Knew it was something about air. I mean, about south. And I guess I would have known area too if I had thought about it for 2 seconds.
And this one is Don't Make Me Hate You.
Nothing. Good advice. Good name for a good concept for a song. If you ran into Rod on the street, you would remember the lyrics to the song.
This one sounds a little more natural, like in his wheelhouse of like kind of his emotional singing. It blends in a little better. And then Piccolo Teatro de Milano is small Milan.
Oh, Piccolo, yeah.
I knew it was small something.
I figured teatro, if they were performing at it, was theater. My amazing big brain language skills figured that one out. De Milano. The little emblem on the right there looks like a Harvard emblem or something. Pacey's doing any background vocals? Probably not. I don't think I've ever seen him do background vocals.
No, yeah, I don't think so either.
But you wonder if things were a little different, like in early Deep Purple, John Lord doing background vocals, you know? They gave him like a taste of it and he was like, nope, not my thing, not doing it. Eccoci arriva. Oh, eccoci arriva. You know what that means?
Not offhand.
Oh, here it comes.
I should have known. Yeah, but you have to. You got to really growl it and do it with some feeling.
Oh, eccoci arriva. I wish he did that at the end and just busted into like some crazy solo or something.
That's where he got it from.
Oh man. So yeah, that's a nice one. Now, hey, if you want to join us at the Aria del Sude tier at Patreon, you can send us a copy of that. if you're holding on to a copy and it's really taking up too much room in your house, hey, just drop me a message.
Yeah, if you you could create that tier and somebody can contribute in euros. At the €5 tier.
They're charging, well, this one's listed for 999.99 euros, and they're charging 25 euros shipping. Couldn't you just do free shipping at that point? Build it into the cost.
Jesus,
I
right?
like it's I bought a lot of stuff off Discogs for $3-4, and there's $5 shipping. That I understand, but they said that the this probably because this one's in mint condition. That's just incredible. But they said that others have, the lowest it's ever sold for was $69.89. The highest was $139.78. So they're asking a bit over the highest price for this one.
Just a bit.
Yeah, but that'd be nice for any collection though. Okay, so that's their little stint in Italy. And we'll take a little break here to do something very special, which is to, of course, thank our core level patrons. Coming at the $7.77 Keep It Warm Rat tier, we've got Michael Vader. At the episode $6.66 tier, we have Steve Coldwell, Arthur Smith, Anton Glaving, and Mike Catan. At the $6.65 Almost Evil tier, we have Kenny Wymore. And at the $5.99 Nice Price tier, we have Fielding Fowler, Robert Smith, Peter from Illinois, Michael Bagford, and
Heyo!
Our newest patron, Carl Hellberg. And at the $5 money lender tier, we have John Convery, German Heindel, Adrian Hernandez, Jesper Elman, Alexei the Perfect Stranger Slepikoff, James North, Mark Hodgetts, Will Porter, Zwapper the Electric Alchemist, and Tim Southern Cross Johnson. Thank you so much to all of you for your generous support of the Deep Purple podcast. Okay, so after this, the band heads to France to record a very rare French EP. So the next 4 songs we're going to hear are all off of a very rare French EP. This one I would also love to have, mostly because of the cover. So it starts off with none other than the track The Maze doing a cover of Harlem Shuffle. And it's a great...
See, Rod is getting a little starting to get a little flashy with his shirts.
It looks like he just got punched in the face, though. This is a special dance discotheque.
Look at Ian Pace on this cover. He looks like such a little boy. I can't take it.
Yeah, he looks like he's 15.
Well, you figure that's probably like when he grew his hair and he put on the dark glasses. He probably did it so he could look older.
Yeah, quite possible. He looks uncomfortable too. His arms are crossed and he's like, the woman standing between all 5 of them, like, he looks mid-dance with her hair thrashing around. And he's like, he looks like, I've never been this close to a girl before. And Rod Evans is like, looks like, I don't know, cocked or just like...
Yep. Yeah, that's the I'm drunk face.
But it's a very interesting album cover.
Yeah. I like the guy on the left. He's like, ah. Yeah, this is pretty good. That's not a bad rendition of this.
No, not at all. It's obviously a song everyone's familiar with to kick it off, and then they'll have 2 more covers and 1 original on this. But it sounds like it's like distorting. It's not. It's produced by Drew Harvey. Doesn't sound like a French name. He does not have many credits to his name.
Yeah, it is a little muffled production, this one.
His vocals are like clipping a little. Probably this record itself is probably the best photo representation of the band.
Yeah.
A nice close-up shot of all of them. In the back of a woman doing a dance.
But it's funny because the band, if you look at them, it all looks like a bunch of guys like in their 30s and then like a 10-year-old.
But funny enough, they were all like just a couple of years older than me and Pace.
Yeah.
It's the difference between being a young-looking 18-year-old and a slightly oldish-looking 22-year-old. But says there's one example of it cutting off really soon, and then goes into the next track. What now? This is written by M. Field, and some of the writing credits on here I can't even find who they're written by. The earlier one though is oh, we haven't gotten to that one yet. Oh, we did know that. Yeah, the song Telephone was written by Lud. Lud, it just said Lud. Couldn't find any information about who wrote it.
Yeah, this is great. I didn't know that there was this much like additional rod laying around.
This would be great. Although, of course, it'd be great to have like a compilation of all the mazes. There's a video actually on YouTube that I'll link to in the show notes that has kind of all of these in one video. Which is kind of a nice little place to play them all. But it would be great to have a nice compilation of all this stuff. But I guess the problem is if they're recording all this stuff live to one or two tracks, like there's not much to remaster, right?
Right.
And I'm sure the original tapes probably aren't even around. This is really poorly recorded. Just like lots of.
Well, and the other problem is probably like there's no there would be like no money in releasing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like 7 dorks like us would buy it.
I think you could probably find almost 100 people worldwide that would buy it, but probably not enough to necessitate a release. But yeah, it would be a huge money loser. Hear this band by the original singer of Deep Purple. People are like, Gillan! No! The other guy. Paice. You could be like, the drumming sensation behind the hit song Smoke on the Water. Oh, I know that song. Like, this isn't quite what I had in mind. Nice. I mean, I really like the song and the performance. Just the production's pretty poor on that one. The next song is called The Trap, and then this one, I believe this one's instrumental. It's credited to Chris Banham, the keyboard player, also goes by Van Han, just Van Han. I don't know why, but Maria actually referred to him as that, and he's listed on Discogs as this. But it's written by, so this is written by all 5 guys in the band, which usually almost always denotes that it's going to be some sort of instrumental or some sort of jam. And here we go. very familiar. This one's called The Trap. I don't know if I mentioned that. Little organ solo.
Somebody's wailing away on the keys.
It's Roger Lewis's turn. This is kind of the closest they come to a Deep Purple. Little trade-off solos here.
Mm-hmm. So where's Rod?
Oh, it's an instrumental.
I mean, he should be in the background going like, hey! All right. Oh,
Echo Chereva!
here it comes.
You should just say "Here it comes" before each solo. Here it comes. Ooh, there you get the bass player some love. I feel like there should be like applause after each solo. Yeah, there's a little something. Is that Rod?
I can't. Maybe.
He does get writing credits on this, so.
I think he's saying the trap or something.
Oh, maybe trap, 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 trap.
That's what I heard.
He just does that one time and goes, all right, where's my writing credit for this one? I helped write this song.
Yeah, but no pacey drum solo.
Yeah, what's up with that?
They're just like two keyboard solos. What's this shit?
The other guys would be like, sorry, little boy, you're too young to do a drum solo. The rest of us are going on to greatness. With you, the jury's still out. Be a groovy song to have on it, like a party with shag carpet and avocado colored refrigerator. All right, now is the part that I've been dreading. The last song on this single, and you know what that is, right? Well, we've been looking at the name, and
This is one that Deep Purple did a year or two later, right?
yeah, if the name sounds familiar, well, it's gonna sound familiar in a second. It's one of my
Oh boy.
one of my least favorite Mark I or any Deep Purple song. I'm so glad. Let's see how this version is.
I'm so glad. I'm so
Get right into it.
I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad.
This one is written by Skip James.
I'm so glad. I'm glad.
Yeah, like Skip may have should have skipped writing this.
I'd like to hear his version. He's like, a blues and gospel guy. I'm sure it's.
Already this one is a little more swing than the Purple version.
It does.
He said, all right.
Yeah, and the Deep Purple version is very droning. It goes on. Seems like it goes on forever.
right, well, first of all, this one is only 3 minutes, 31 seconds. And I feel like this one has more energy. This one has more energy on the vocals too.
Yeah, they all sound bored in the Deep Purple version. So I'm sorry for those of you that love that one, but it's a tough one for me. Did you say hit me now?
Probably.
I think the problem too is the repetition and the fact that it's really the only words in the whole song. I'm so glad, I'm so glad. I kind of like this part.
Yeah. This feels a lot more loose, more like a jam.
Yeah, this song ultimately doesn't go anywhere.
No, but I would have to say, putting it up against the Mark I version, this is way better.
Yeah, it's just as repetitive though. It's got great energy to it. It's good performance.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm not minding it as much.
Yeah, the Deep Purple one is much more low key and sort of depressing.
Yeah.
And this has got like a cool harmony with it too, which is interesting.
Like just a kind of a gospel-y type part to it here.
There's the flapping. They like started to fade it out and they're like, oops, we didn't mean to do that, and they brought it back in and then faded it out.
Oops.
Oh, sorry about that. It was a little heavy finger there. All right, so what do you think about that whole EP?
That was pretty good. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe it's the purple connection. Just listening for all of those Paiceisms, which were as you were starting to the beginning. I didn't notice it as much, but as they started to go on, you start to hear Ian Paice, a little more of his personality stuff that he's done. Rod's vocals were pretty consistent throughout. I feel like he almost was more in his wheelhouse here than he was in most of Deep Purple.
Sure.
Maybe it was the way that they recorded, or I mean, even this song right here, this last one was just proof that even though like I'm So Glad is still like a really boring song overall, it's like they didn't do this big long extended version of it, and the energy of it kind of saved it. Like if this one were to come on again, I wouldn't immediately be like ugh and turn it off. Like if we're on a 60s playlist.
Yeah, totally. I think I think it has good performances on this, pretty decent songs. The production is worse than all the other ones though, unfortunately, it's a lot of distorted vocals and tinny sounding in places, and but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So after this point, the band wasn't seeing a ton of success from its singles. Rod Evans, or Ian Paice, I'm sorry, on the boat trip, I got a little ahead of myself there. Talks about when they were on their way. I can't tell from his story if he's talking about I think he's talking about on his way to Hamburg. I'm sorry. So for one of these shows, he talks about how he met Ritchie Blackmore on the boat. He said he'd heard about him. And his direct quote is, "I'd heard about him, what a great guitar player he was supposed to be, and we had a talk, but that was all. Never thought anything about it. But after the job in Milan, the Maze got a 3-week booking at the Star Club in Hamburg, and we met again. Blackmore caught Paice live and offered him the drumming gig in what would become Deep Purple, Roundabout, when they're forming it. But Paice had to turn it down because the Maze at this point were making money. So he said, I'm going to stick with the Maze. And yeah, so from that point, they go into the studio, and their last single by the Maze was released on December 6th, 1967. And I've seen multiple different spellings of this: Kateri, and Katari. So I'm not exactly sure. Maybe Rod's pronunciation will clear it up. But here's the single, the A-side, Katari. Another Drew Harvey production.
Kateri.
Well, it's spelled. It's spelled with 2 A's on this one.
Oh, Kateri. It sounds probably like a girl's name. That's what it sounds like.
One of the composers of this was Salvador Cardillo, born in Napoli, 1874. Has a ton of different writing credits in the early 1900s.
I feel like even though the production probably hasn't been too much improved, I feel like their sound, I guess, or like their direction has kind of developed a little bit from the first song that we heard.
Yeah, and I think the productions, even though it's the same producer, it's a little bit better than the last one we listened to, but not a ton. I think the earlier stuff sounded better. I like the earlier stuff. This is when the Maze sold out.
Nate, that music and everything is cut out on me.
Good. Well, it's right at the end of the song, so. Cool. All right, so that was Kateri. And then the next part, of course, is the B-side to that single, which is a song that is an original credited to all 5 members of the band. And that is a song called Easy Street. March.
This is the Partridge Family outtakes with Rod as Keith Partridge.
I was trying to place what it reminded me of.
I've got to find a way to leave this town. Envying the people with their money and their cars on Easy Street. I want to be on Easy Street.
And this one seems to be produced a little bit better. It has a little bit of a horn section, a little bit of that poppy.
The world looks on and laughs at all my schemes and shatters all my dreams.
This is pleasant.
I don't want much.
I like it.
I long for things I know I'll never own.
kind of all the things we read earlier, like that their likes were women and money and cars, and Rod envying every one of those things.
Easy street. I wanna be on easy street. Life is sweet.
I wonder if at the end he says he wants to be bald-headed and happy. I'd be so happy for him.
I feel so small. My voice cannot be heard.
Who said that about him again?
Words.
I think it was Nick Simper relaying
right.
that to someone else.
Right.
Nick Simper is the missing link. I think we need to get into Nick Simper's good graces. Nick,
Maybe.
come on, give us. You know, Rod's got a laptop with Zoom on it.
Nicky,
Nicky, come on.
Nicky, you're breaking my heart. We're breaking my balls and my heart.
Nicky, why you gotta break my balls? Tell us where Rod is.
It's with Jimmy Hoffa. Oh, come on. That was funny.
What? I think I missed it.
Well, now it's not going to be funny.
I got a text. I was reading that.
We're like, where's Rod? And I'm like, he's with Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
I got like no reaction from you. I'm like, damn
Sorry.
it.
I got.
That was so topical to like many years ago.
I got a. It was topical 40 years ago, maybe longer. I got
4 years.
40. I said.
Oh, I was gonna say
Yeah,
4 years.
4 years ago, when Jimmy Hoffa was in the news. I feel like people made that joke 40 years ago, and it was old. It was like 20 years old at that point.
It was old.
Sorry,
Yeah, 4 years ago was
me with his text message.
okay. Let's say like 4 years ago was probably topical, like on one of those like unsolved mysteries on the Travel Channel like show or something like that.
The year was 2018. We all joked about Jimmy Hoffa all the time.
Here
Life
at the
was simpler
Travel
then.
Channel. Here on
Awesome.
A&E. I don't know.
So yeah, I think that was pretty. I liked Easy Street a lot.
Yeah, I like. I kind of like the direction it went in. I like the fact that like this collection of songs was just that. It was kind of a collection. You had all like the same band, and you saw the same band and group of musicians kind of developing over like, what was it, a year or two? Like not even
Yeah.
like.
Yeah,
So
mean,
I liked it. Yeah.
65 to 67. Yeah, really.
Yeah, a couple of years. So yeah. And I mean it kind of pieces it together for me a little bit more, that it's like, wow, like Ian Pace and Rod Evans were like a lot closer. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Than I thought they were. Like they were almost kind of like now I think of them as like the Gillan Glover kind of combination, you know, coming in, knowing each other beforehand. And
It was kind of a similar deal in that they both kind of went, Rod and, well, we'll get, it brings us to the Deep Purple thing. So they're not getting any success for these singles. Rod was the first to leave the band. He heard about, Mick Angus told him about an advertisement in Melody Maker for looking for a singer. This would ultimately be the Roundabout Deep Purple ad. So he got the job. Ritchie said, hey, what's Ian going to be doing now that the Maze is going to be breaking up? And Ian went to the rehearsals with their original when their original drummer Bobby Woodman wasn't around, and he agreed that he joined the band as well. So they kind of got him as a package. It's kind of the same thing as Gillan went to audition for singer, and Glover accompanied him. So on this one, Rod went to audition as singer, and Ian accompanied him. So I guess the idea is, if you're auditioning for something for Ritchie and you want to get in, go with your buddy who's auditioning. They might kick somebody out of the band if you're good. So Ian says it was a pure chance, really. If Mick hadn't told Rod and Rod hadn't got the job, I'd never have known about the gig. So there you go. Then from that, he goes right into Deep Purple, and that's kind of the history for the Maze. Those other guys, unfortunately, don't have any other credits that I've been able to find. yeah, that's about it. I hesitate to show the next part because it might get us banned from YouTube, but there are few more releases from them. It's all the same songs, but these releases, we got to bring it back because it is something known as the booby bootlegs.
Hi-yo!
So the booby bootlegs are back. If you're not familiar with this, we've encountered them many times before. I think it was the original Rod Evans. From later from this, like the later in the 70s when Rod Evans did his solo works, they had these bootlegs of them, which was just a woman with her boobs out, and it's like Rod Evans, this song. And here we go. It says MI5 featuring Ian Paice and Rod Evans, like on a picture frame in the background, but in the foreground is a woman with no shirt on.
Right, but I mean, she it looks like the booby and Bush bootlegs too. She's showing some Bush.
This is true. We do have full frontal on this one.
So it's the Bush bootlegs.
We probably shouldn't show this because we're probably going to get us banned on YouTube. And then,
can I say Bush?
Can you say it? I think it's probably fine. If we're showing it, you should be able to say it. Can we show it? We shouldn't be showing it either. And here's another one. This is a much poorer resolution. But again, The Maze featuring Ian Paice and Rod Evans is just a naked woman. And then here's
that's really just
some boobs on it.
This is just really bizarre. Like, I still don't get it.
Yeah, I bring it up because we found some of these bootlegs in the past, and it's just really, really odd. I mean, on the one hand, this is really obscure stuff. So people aren't going to be like looking for, like, I'm really looking to find the Rod Evans' original stuff before he joined Deep Purple, which everyone knows him from. So let's put a woman with boobs on the cover to sell it. But on the other hand, I mean, how many more copies are you going to sell? Like, aren't people just going to be like, yeah, you're not going to trick us with that? Like, we don't, I don't know. I can't imagine it sold a ton of copies. If anyone out there has any booby bootlegs, though, let us know. We'd love to see them. They are kind of collector's items, and I think you can find them on Discogs for sale every so often. But yeah. So that's The Maze. That's kind of the pretty much the complete history of the band. If you got any information that we don't know about, please let us know, so we can include that in our show notes later at a later point. But that's pretty much all we got for this week. Before that is, we thank our foundation level patrons. Coming in at the $3.33 halfway to evil tier, we have Raf Calf. At the $3 Nobody's Perfect tier, we have Peter Gardeau, Ian DeRosier, Mark Roback, Duncan Leask, Stuart McCord. What?
Why did you say this, Stuart?
Stuart McCord. Flight of the Rat Bat Blue Light, Ivan Fieldboo. And by the look on your face, I'm guessing you didn't hear that.
No.
But you will hear this one, because we also have, coming in at the $3 Nobody's Perfect tier, Runar Simonson.
It's a great life if you know we can.
And of
There we
course,
go.
Patron Upgrade. Heyo, JJ Stenard. It's a great life if you're from England. I think he's from England. It works for a lot of countries, if memory serves. And at the $1 made up name tier, we have the Secret Agent of Perforated Tombs, Leaky Mausoleum, Stephen Somerville, the Concerto 1999 Fanatic, Spike the Rock Cat, Hank the Tank, Private Eyes, Ashton Lionel, Spike's Mom, and Blackmore's Tights. Thank you so much to all of you for your generous donations to the Deep Purple podcast. We appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you. Wouldn't do it without you. Wouldn't want to. And that's about all I got. John, you look pained and concerned. Oh, I think he lost his audio again. He's got a look on his face. All right. Well, with that, folks, we will. He's waving goodbye. Audio issues. They're coming at the perfect moment, though, because it's like, what are we gonna do? Set this whole thing up for 2 seconds more of audio. He's waving goodbye. He loves you all. He's blowing kisses. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you for listening to the Deep Purple podcast. If you like what you hear and would like more episodes in the future, please donate on Patreon to support the show.
You can also leave us a review in Apple Podcasts to help new people discover the show. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for show updates. See deeppurplepodcast.com for more details. Thank you for listening.